All right, so today we're going to talk about modern budget rifles and how to accurize them. Because a lot of these guns out of the box don't shoot very well. Sometimes they perform well for a little while and they start losing accuracy quickly, and there's some key reasons for that. The Mossberg Patriot and the Thompson Center Compass specifically are two that are notorious for that. And I have several of these budget rifles, and we've accurized them and got sub-MOA groups out of them. So let's go ahead and get into it. So with a lot of these rifles, there are some key issues, and a lot of them are how they're mounted in the stocks. So we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the ways to accurize them. But when you take a look at this, so I'm going to pull, I just got the bolt set in here because I pulled this rifle out of the stock. This was a Mossberg Patriot, and these guns are capable of accuracy, and they get a really bad rap because of the way they're built. So what I want to show you is this stock. And if you look inside of here, you can see the recoil lug where it sits right down in here is two flimsy pieces of plastic up against that wall. And they're actually already, these ones are starting to flex, and eventually they'll break out. And also, if you take a look at this magazine well, so this is the magazine well. It's got an empty magazine sitting in it right now. We'll go ahead and pull that out. So this magazine well is actually cracked now. And you can see the crack running across the plastic, and it's all the way through. But the reason for that is that how these mount, the mount bolts go completely through. You can see this sets on here and compresses this plastic when you put the bolts in the bottom all the way through into your action. You tighten them down, and they're expecting that plastic to hold that together. So you can see where I'm going with this. There's a lot of ways that this flexes, compresses, and never stays consistent for accuracy. How do you expect that to hold accuracy under recoil? It's just not going to happen. So this is one of the key issues I found with some of these rifles. And one of the biggest fixes is to buy an aftermarket stock. And bedding action really helps too. So we've taken several of these rifles, and I'm going to pull one up here and show you. This right here is a Thompson Center Compass. I bought this rifle for $159 on a Black Friday sale, and it had a synthetic stock similar to this one, and they were notorious for accuracy issues. This is in 6.5 Creedmoor, so I didn't wait for the stock to start decompressing. I just bought this Boyd's custom rifle stock, and I love Boyd's stocks. I have them on several of my guns, and I didn't even bed this action. This is just locked into the wood stock. The barrel is free floated from the factory on this stock, so you can run a dollar bill down this. And this in 6.5 Creedmoor's Thompson Center Compass will shoot 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch groups without an issue. We've done it on paper consistently with the right ammo. It's a little ammo picky, but it's not bad. But with certain ammo, I have no problem shooting well under 1 inch groups at 100 yards. And that's pretty impressive for a gun that I paid $200 for, and the stock was about $160. So, I mean, I'm into this gun probably under $450 with the scope, with everything. I did do a little trigger work to it, which I always do. The trigger was a little stiff, so we softened the spring. There's a spring modification you can do. But this gun, as it sits here, I can go out just about touch bullet holes on paper with this Creedmoor. And that's all for under $500. That's with the scope, which is a Vortex. This is a Vortex Crossfire 2. So it wasn't a real expensive scope. So I think I got the scope on sale for $120 or something like that. But this gun it performs really well. Now I'm going to show you what we did with the Mossberg Patriot. So the Mossberg Patriot, I actually didn't buy this gun, but these guns you can pick up on a budget pretty well. This was a Mossberg Patriot Night Train, and this is actually what this synthetic stock came off of. So I got this rifle from a person that I work with. We did some swapping, and I ended up getting this rifle. And there's a lot of issues with this stock, and it caused a lot of accuracy issues. So I decided to go with an MDT chassis on this. Now I did pay a little more, but you can get a Boyd's rifle stock in a lot of different styles for this as well. And there's some other companies that make stocks for this too. So there are a lot of options out there in the less than $200 range for stocks for this that would help this gun a lot. You can go with the laminate, kind of like what I have on my 6.5 Creedmoor. Now this Patriot is in 308, and we actually haven't fired this one yet. after changing the stock. So we're going to go out and fire this gun and find out what kind of accuracy. We'll do a follow-up video on this and talk about accuracy. But I know for a fact this gun is going to be a lot more accurate just by changing this out because of the accuracy issues out of those stocks and what I see happening in that stock. It's already busted and flexing inside. So this is a solid piece of aluminum. The MDT chassis is solid aluminum, and it's basically bedded in here. You have no bedding to do because the lug beds right into the aluminum. Once you torque these screws to spec, this thing is solid with this, and it's completely free-floated. And one thing I like about this, it has your M-LOK system. So we can run this style of M-LOK bipod. We can run all kinds of M-LOK accessories. There's a lot of things you can do with this, and it takes AR buffer tube if you choose. There's some other adapters you can get for different style of stocks, but also AR pistol grips, which I really like. So I can use this Luth AR palm well style grip, swollen palm well. I'm running a Strike Industries butt stock, which is pretty nice, and I have a monopod that mounts down here right in the stock. So I can get really good accuracy out of a rifle like this on a fairly decent budget. I mean, even if you paid $300 for the rifle, which is typically what a Mossberg Patriot can go for, and I paid $400 for the chassis and put a little bit into it, for under $1,000 you can build a really good sniper style or long range style build. And there's a lot of options for different rifles on this chassis, and now MDT's got some better chassis than this out. This is like, I think this is a Gen 1 or a Gen 2, and now they have the Gen 3. And the Gen 3 has all kinds of plates and stuff that go over the top, so you can do a full rail build. You can do longer builds. They have accessories for it. MDT makes some pretty cool stuff. If you're not familiar with their chassis and their stocks and rifle systems, go check them out. They are very innovative. They have a lot of accessories and things for rifles and firearms that take some of these guns and they turn them into long-range guns, and they're really not that expensive for what you get. Some of their field stocks, which are a chassis system, they go for less than $300 or they were. So check MDT out. But these are some of the key issues that I found. A lot of them in budget rifles are usually based around the synthetic stocks and the way the lugs tend to lock up and the way that they bolt into the system. Like this, compressing the plastic, and you can see there's a lot of room for flex, and they end up breaking the tabs out up inside, which cause the gun to be able to slide back and forth. It doesn't retain that lug and a recoil. So it's shifting in the stock, changing how that gun's pointing in the trajectory of that rifle. So by ditching the synthetic stock and going to more of a solid base laminate stock or an aluminum chassis or a better stock system, or, you know, another option is just bedding that action in the stock. You can do that. You could take this stock. I could probably take the stock and Dremel some of that plastic out and do a fiberglass bed in there and bed this system, and then it would be a lot better. So there are some other options that you could do on a budget. You could take the stock with a bedding kit and probably make it a lot better. But it's the stocks and it's the triggers that kill a lot of these budget rifles. So a lot of these rifles, like this one wasn't bad, but that Thompson Center Compass had a real heavy trigger. So we did, it was a cheap fix. I think it was a $20 spring modification that I got off like eBay, and a little bit of work to the trigger, and it was like night and day. We took that thing from a 5-pound trigger down to like a 2.5-pound trigger with not much creep. So it performs pretty well. I've actually hunted with this rifle, and we've actually taken quite a few deer with it, and that trigger is pretty crisp. I like it. I mean, it's empty. There's no magazine in it, but that trigger is like pretty crisp, and it's pretty short. There ain't a lot of creep there, and it's got pretty low pounds. So this is a pretty nice setup. So I really like the Boyds as well. And if you're not familiar with Boyds, they got some guns like this is an @1, and it has an adjustable rear pad, so you can set it up for your length of pull. And it also has, you can push this button in and pull this comb out for your cheek riser, and then you can set your cheek weld up if you have higher rings. So I really like this setup too. And you can actually get AICS magazines for this as well. So they make a kit that you can add where it takes AICS magazines, kind of like the ones I got on the table. So this MDT takes AICS magazines as well, which makes it nice because it makes it more versatile. I can run different mags in it rather than the old Mossberg magazine that only holds 4 rounds or 5 rounds. I can get, 5-round mags. I can get 10-round mags, and I think I can get 20-round AICS mags. So I do really like the 10 rounds. I think they got some 12-rounders that are about that size as well. But if you want to run AICS mags, it's an option. Most MDT stocks accept AICS mags. And I know most of the Boyd stocks have kits to run AICS mags in common calibers, like this 6.5 Creedmoor or like this 308. So I can get a Boyd stock similar to this, or there's a lot of different options in Boyd's. They have a lot of custom stocks. And I could get one for this 308 if I wanted to run that on the Mossberg Patriot as well. But I preferred the MDT chassis. I wanted to try one. I haven't ran one before, so we're going to give this a shot and see how it goes. So that's a couple key things I've learned with accuracy on a lot of bolt action rifles. There's a couple other rifles I've done this to as well. I've got an old Mosin Nagant that we took, an old World War II Russian rifle that we took and modified a long time ago when they were cheap. Mosins used to be, they were $89 rifles a long time ago, and most of us kick ourselves for cutting them up and modifying them now because they have a lot of value. But back when they were cheap, we did build one. I built one out for long range. We'll grab it and we'll show you. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about some accuracy with that as well, since we're on accuracy right now. So this is the Mosin Nagant. I built this for long range a long time ago. This was one of my first long range builds. I bought this rifle back when they were like $89. I paid $89 at a little sporting goods store back where I lived in Washington State. And this was the full length barrel. This is why I kind of kicked myself for modifying it like I did. I love the rifle, but it has some value. So this is an octagon receiver, which makes this a pre-war gun. And I actually slugged the bore, and this bore is perfect. This gun had almost no fire time on it. So it's got a perfect bore. We put some rounds through it, but it haven't gotten crazy. It's probably got 500 rounds down it maybe. We've shot it quite a bit, but not a lot. In the basis of some of the guns I got, I've shot a lot more. But what we did is we bought a kit. They made a kit, and I cut it off and recrowned the barrel at 25 and a half because it used to be 29. It was very long. And we tried one of these limb saver recoil barrel dampening devices, and that actually helped a little bit for barrel whip for the length. And we got one of these Rock Solid Industries mounts. Now this has been huge for mounting a scope. You drill and tap your receiver. Some of those old style mounts they made, they just kind of floated. Well, they'd float over the top of the receiver and they'd vibrate loose, even if you Loctited them. Well, this gave you a fold over the back. I'll flip this around. And it gave you a third mounting point. As you can see, it L's over the back and it gives you a third mounting point you drill and tap, which made it solid. That's why they call it the Rock Solid. And so it actually is one of the best mounts they had on the market. And it took the same bolt pattern as the old ATI float overs. So, which was cool. You didn't have to re-drill and tap. You could use the same holes you already had. And so something we also did to accurize this rifle, since we were adding a scope mount, is I epoxied underneath it here against the receiver. I epoxy bedded this to the receiver so there was no vibration. And that helped it quite a bit. And then we Cerakoted the bolt. So this is a custom bolt modification I did. I actually cut the bolt off and I welded this piece on. This was actually the shoulder to an Allen bolt that we welded on. And then we took the ball off the original. We welded it on and I redressed it out, ground it kind of flat on the backside, and we Cerakoted it. It turned out really good. So we actually added a Timney trigger, and this is a Boyd's custom rifle stock as well. But I did keep the original trap door floor plate, because I think it's pretty cool. It kind of still gives it that Mosin feel along with the bolt. Now, the way this is set up, we have cut sub-MOA groups with this rifle that's like almost 100 years old. This rifle with factory ammunition, privy, I think it was 180 grain ammo, it'll shoot 3/4 inch groups. I've done it. We've printed 3/4 inch groups on paper with this gun. And that's pretty impressive for a gun as old as it is. But a lot of things that contribute to that are the same things that contribute to the accuracy on those other rifles. So back when they built these rifles, they were precision about, their bores being, because this was a pre-war gun, the bore is central on this gun. They did a good job machining the bore in this rifle. This wasn't built for war. This was built in peacetime. And because of that, they took a lot of pride in how they put their firearms together. So the receiver is perfect. Everything is machined perfect, and the bore slugs out exactly to tolerance. It's a .310 bore, which is what these were. They were a metric 308, the 7.62x54R. And because of that, this gun is extremely accurate. But what takes away from some of the accuracy of these rifles was they're clamped on stocks that pin the barrel. And then as things heated up and they start to swell and move around, your barrel is going to start moving around. And the barrels were too long. 29.5 inches is too long for a barrel. So we cut it down and recrowned it at 25.5, which it increases. So you're reducing drag on the bullet, but you're also reducing barrel whip. When you get a barrel too long, it actually whips under vibration, and you'll start printing bigger groups as that barrel heats up. So with all the things that we've done, what we've learned is that, and this is bedded, we did a pillar bedding in this stock, so it's locked in pretty good. The barrel's free floated. Those are the two major things that contribute to accuracy, and the third would be your trigger pull. And so this Timney is actually really impressive. If you've ever dealt with Timney triggers, their bolt-in or their drop-in triggers are really good. This is an adjustable trigger, and we got it set at almost no creep and about 3 pounds, which we could drop that down. I could go down to 1.5 pounds, but when I had it set real low at about 1.5 pounds, I thought it was too touchy. You could almost drop it and it would fire, so I didn't like that. So we brought it back up. But it might be less than 3. It might be closer to 2.5. But that's a really good trigger. Which the nice thing is on these old Mosins, if you know anything about them, the safety is back here. You have to pull this lug out and twist it, which is really tough. So the Timney also has a safety in it. So, but like I was saying, to get back on point, is some of the key takeaways on these rifles for accuracy. Almost any rifle needs some key things to be accurate. One is to be really bedded into the stock so it doesn't move. And that's kind of one of the key takeaways I want with this video, is people to understand where your accuracy issues are coming from. Head spacing matters. The space between your chamber and your receiver, that does matter. But most companies, most manufacturers, even budget companies, get that right most of the time. Barrel accuracy matters, how that barrel's cut. But again, with most modern manufacturing, that's all usually pretty close to right. So most of the key issues come with the stock being married to the barrel, and receiver not very well. So you end up with high points in some of those stocks that are not floated, and that causes accuracy issues. You end up with bedding issues in a lot of those synthetic stocks that cause the gun to flex or the gun to be able to move around and shift inside that stock, which causes accuracy issues. And then heavy trigger pulls, which typically cause, when you pull the trigger, you pull your firearm, which causes grouping issues. So those are the things to mainly focus on. You could take almost any budget rifle. If you're struggling with a budget rifle that has a synthetic stock to be accurate, one of the key things I would look at is replacing the stock with one of these Boyd. So go check out Boyd's custom rifle stocks. They have stocks for almost every gun out there, and I'm not affiliated with them. I just like their products. And so that is one to look at. And then if you're looking for a little bit higher end build, you want to take something that's decent, make it a lot better, think about the MTT chassis. The MTT chassis are really nice, and they're high quality. They're a solid piece of aluminum milled down, so there's no way you can have accuracy issues because it's completely bedded into that aluminum. So those are the key things that I found with accuracy on most rifles, especially budget rifles, though. So hopefully this helps somebody. And you could take most of your budget rifles and at least cut MOA groups with them with just a little bit of money and a little bit of time. Most of these stocks are under $200, especially your Boyd's custom rifle stocks. There's a few other companies making laminate stocks like that as well. But Boyd's also sells a pillar bedding kit and some other accessories to lock those in real tight and make your gun, shoot those groups. So check them out. And for everybody out there prepping and firearm collecting, keep going, keep doing it. Accuracy is key with firearms, especially when you're talking long range or you're talking hunting rifles. So see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. If this is the kind of thinking that speaks to you, hit subscribe. I'll be covering gear, prepping systems, homestead tactics, and off-grid survival. Don't get caught off guard. Let's get ready together.